and welcome to episode 8 of Fem Power on WISP Sports Radio, where we believe that women in sports deserve equal coverage. We're your hosts. I'm Carolyn Joyce.
And I'm Kristen Shefchunis.
Living for the moment.
Fem Power is a podcast where we talk to women and girls in swimming and sports who inspire us.
We are more beautiful together. We leave a sizzle in the air. I'm not afraid about the future. I close my eyes and I am there.
Today we welcome Catherine Vogt, Associate Head Coach at USC and 2016 Head Olympic Open Water Coach. Catherine, welcome to Fem Power.
Thank you guys for having me.
We're so excited to have you. So I have to start first because I've known you the longest. I mean, really, I was thinking back. I believe we met on the pool deck when you were coaching at UNC, right? And I was at SMU,
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, there's not a whole lot of women on the pool deck as coaches. So, we quickly bonded. But, for those of the people out there listening that don't know anything about you or even just a little bit about you, kind of tell us your journey. We know you swam at North Carolina, so you got to coach at your alma mater. After you graduated, what does your journey look like?
Yeah. So I actually went into education and psychology at the University of North Carolina. Like you mentioned, I swam there, was an athlete, had a great experience. I loved my coaches. I loved the team. So I graduated and I taught for a year. And during that time, I was also coaching a club team, North Carolina Aquatic Club, on the side. And every day I was just felt more fulfilled from what I did on the pool deck, in the water with the kids. And it just kind of made me realize that, maybe the classroom for me was not second graders, getting them to line up and, get their brownies at Christmas time. But I really just enjoyed I felt most comfortable on the deck and working with the kids. And I just felt like my passion showed up there. And so anyway, my journey, I guess I got married. I moved to Mississippi and had an opportunity to be a coach of a little team there, Meridian Swim Association. And the people were great. I think I took over this little team and was doing everything from the learn to swim lessons, having my phone number flashed across the screen to all of Meridian, Mississippi. I did the club team. I did the masters, kind of just did everything and didn't have any idea what I was doing. But that led me to North Carolina and didn't really have a job right away, but kind of stumbled upon a little club team in Eastern North Carolina and Carteret Currents. So I got to work there and still kind of maintain my relationships at Chapel Hill. Eventually a position opened up there and just kind of thought, well, why not? And then just through coaching open water, I worked with a great athlete, Chip Peterson, and he eventually went on to win world championships and national championships, sort of established that, I guess that all of a sudden made me an expert in open water. And then I got to know Dave Salo, and then we were on a Pan Am staff in 2007. And I was actually the first female that's ever been named to a male team. So I was coaching the men's team for Pan Am.
Amazing.
Yeah, but again, it's like I just loved what I did. It didn't matter what athlete I was working with. Also coached open water there. And a position opened up at USC in 2008 and he offered it to me. And I thought, well, why not? Let's go see what Southern California is all about. And 10 years later, I'm still here. It was a little bit of a risk, with my background in open water from 2005 to 2008. I was afraid I might lose sort of everything that I had done. And maybe I wouldn't get more opportunities. But, then comes along Haley Anderson and she's interested in open water. And so I just, I don't know, I guess my confidence kind of grew from that. And so I feel like I've had the best of almost every world. Being able to be on the college deck. Now I'm on the deck with my daughter who's 7 and she's on a little swim team. And then still be able to travel and be on shores for open water. So I feel really lucky.
Yeah, that's amazing. We definitely want to talk about Haley.
Was that too long? I'm sorry.
No, I love it. But we're gonna get to Haley and we're gonna get to your daughter Carson. But first, I kind of want to talk about your time at USC because I know you've been there since '08. And then, what year were you promoted to associate head coach?
I think it was 2000. Maybe 2015.
Okay. Well,
so that was a big year. Yeah, I got to do the World Championships for Kazan for open water. So I was the head coach for that and then got promoted to associate head coach. So,
and I mean, that's absolutely amazing because, it's Dave Salo is the head coach, when you have such a big name head coach and then still named associate head coach. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. And, something that's always stood out to me about you is, I have no doubt that you're passionate about women and especially, with your daughter, empowering women, but it seems like you get just as much joy out of coaching the men. Kind of talk to me about, your relationships with the college athletes, the difference between men and women, and just kind of talk a little bit about that.
Okay, sure. I think I'm not sure if it's a gender thing, but for me, the reason I am in coaching and I've stayed in as long as I have has been the relationships. And I think that it takes time to get to know people. I think, one of the things I try to do is really observe a pool deck and try to watch the athletes interact, try to get to know them as people. Trust takes a lot of time to build.
Oh, yeah.
But eventually I think, there's, and everybody is different, right? So everyone's going to connect differently and different things are going to motivate them. But I think that's kind of where the psychology background for me kind of comes in, is trying to understand where people are and, do they need to be pushed or do they need to be challenged? Or is that a moment where, maybe they shouldn't be pushed out of their comfort zone and maybe they just need a breather. And so I think that's probably one of the things that I do just for me personally. I try to make sure I connect with the athletes. And then ultimately, I'm inspired. That's probably what brings my passion out, is that, the people that I'm working with, like, I get excited about their successes and through failure, want to help people grow and learn. I just think you cannot appreciate your success unless you've learned from, maybe skipping a beat or kind of evaluating how you've gotten along. And the real world is going to be full of disappointments. And so I feel like this is just a great arena for me to be able to help people and try to make them better. But men are different than women. A lot of times they're much easier. You can give them a set, talk to them about their day, and you know that you're going to get a straight answer. Probably with the women, I think you have to engage in that conversation to understand where it needs to go, and always try to remember that I may ask a question, and if I get an answer, maybe there's another question that wants to be asked, so always
Sure.
ask, is there anything else? Or, because I think a lot of times people they're waiting for someone to ask them.
No doubt.
And Dave has been great. Truly, he's been probably the reason I've been able to be in coaching and at this level as long as I have, because he's really allowed me to have time, to be with my daughter, to be able to do the open water piece, and really just not really balance. I feel like there's no balance in the sport of coaching, but more manage the energies of where I need to be.
That's amazing. I love listening to your story and your journey, because I don't know, I know timing is everything, but open water became an Olympic sport, in 2008?
Yes.
And so just the timing of your journey, it was spot on, and you really cemented yourself, I think, as the open water expert and the go-to person. And, time and time again, you're on that staff and you're putting people on that team. And it's just amazing, that all of this happened as you were kind of getting interested in coaching that, and, had tremendous success with Chip. We love Chip. But I think that's really cool. So as you've kind of, paved your own way, because nobody's really done what you're doing before.
Right.
You have really paved your own way and created this, niche thing that is having tremendous success. And it kind of seems like, Haley Anderson, we mentioned her earlier, but, two-time Olympian, Olympic silver medalist in open water swimming. It seems like you and Haley have been growing together, and she has found,
definitely.
yeah, and she's found success even a little bit later on in the sport and the timeline of how we usually view, swimmers finding success. So can you talk about like your journey with Haley together and just, how you guys have continued to find success year after year as as she progresses through this sport?
Oh, definitely. And thank you for your comments. I really appreciate it. Has been kind of crazy actually when you kind of sit down and summarize it all. So yeah, I think that one of the hardest things is maintaining consistency and success at the highest level, over extended periods of time.
Absolutely.
And so, I really do try to stay humble. And there's so many great coaches out there that are doing different things and just getting it done in a different way. And it's hard to put an athlete on the national team. That's not easy. And open water is definitely different than the pool. And so I think anyone that kind of takes time to understand that, that probably a new level of appreciation for those athletes. And then for Haley, yeah, I mean, she came to USC. She loved Dave. She felt like she could add something to the team. She won the NCAA championship in the mile more than once, the 500. And I think it just kind of hit for her. Like you said, timing is everything. Like, her junior year, she had done one open water camp and didn't really love doing it. But for some reason, like she just kind of had the personality and is probably one of the times that I nudged, pushed, and challenged her maybe a little more than she wanted to be. But I think once she found a taste of success in 2012, early on in that year, the sport of open water really kind of grasped her and got her attention. And so, she's been the most consistent American open water swimmer internationally for a long time. And I think that's something that she needs to be really proud of. And I really respect in her because it is hard to stay at the top. But I also think too, probably it's a connection and she trusts me a lot and, she guides me as well and she motivates me. And so I think that, I don't know, it's been great. We fill different roles for each other. And I love that since she's graduated from college and it's been fun to work with her as a pro. Sometimes I have to be a mom, sometimes a friend, sometimes a coach. So, she's a great babysitter. So, and again, I think it just goes back to my relationships and like, that's what guides me and motivates me.
Oh yeah.
And still being able to talk to Chip, I still pick up the phone and call him and I'm like, what do you think about this? And, I love the quality and the depth of friendships and relationships. And those are the things that are going to sustain over time.
You can definitely see that you and Haley have a really special bond. I know Carson makes a lot of cameos on Haley's social media. I think that's so cool. The one thing that...
Yeah, she knows Snapchat now.
Yeah. She's like, Mom, I'll tell you this new thing. One thing that is always like interesting and kind of fascinating to me. So, with pool swimming, you prepare, you do everything, you visualize, and then the race is always exactly the same. You always race in a 25-yard, 50-meter pool, like nothing about that strategy and what to expect in swimming changes. Other people, the things that they do, it doesn't really impact you, but you can't control that. But with open water, like there are no certainties. Like how do you prepare your athletes for just such a wild card sport, basically, where like anything can? I bet you have some crazy stories.
Oh, so many crazy stories. But that's how life is, right? Like nothing is predictable. You can prepare the best that you can, and something can go wrong. But I think in teaching athletes to trust themselves and to kind of work through a process, like to trust in the process more than the outcome. Because like we say, you can have the best laid out plans for a race and then you could still get third or fourth. You could make bad decisions and have a terrible race and end up winning. There's an element of luck, certainly.
Absolutely.
But I think it's fun and I don't know. It is enjoyable to watch and work with the athletes. Because I think, for me coaching the national team, whether it not just be Haley, but any of the American athletes over the last, 8 or 10 years, it's great to get to know them and then understand what they need and, kind of follow them through on their path of life and what they're doing now. So.
Yeah, I think that's as a coach, like I feel like I would just have so much anxiety before race day. Like, oh my gosh, like is the water temperature going to be okay? Is the wind going to be okay? Like, are their goggles going to, is feeding going to go well? Like there's just so many factors.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? It makes for a lot of great storytelling afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Kristen.
No, I was just going to say, when I hear you speak, I mean, it's just so cool because it's so clear that you are so passionate about taking what you learn, through these things and transitioning them into life. Like this isn't just swimming. Like these are such life lessons and making, your athletes better people and able to handle life better. So I just think that that's a rarity. And I think coaching is such a responsibility, and hearing you say that, it just makes me respect you even more. If I could have more respect for you, I just think it's amazing.
Well, thank you. But I think that also comes with time too, and being at a different place. I mean, I do remember feeling like, oh, our team has to win. We have to win. How can I recruit the fastest person? And, obviously just through time, we get so much wiser, and certainly, mistakes teach you what, more about yourself. And so I really think that it comes with, just that learning curve. It's going to come at all points in your life. And I remember last summer, like I didn't get, to go on the world championship team, and I was really bummed. And then, I ended up meeting, my future husband and had time for that. And I'm now on some committees with FINA. So I really feel like everything just happens for a reason. But of course, I don't think that will happen unless you take time to kind of reflect on what's gotten you where you are.
Absolutely.
So I'll try to always learn from the past, stay focused on where I am in the moment. And then I think with, attitude can kind of determine where your future is going to go.
Woo,
so sure.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
good.
To kind of finish my swimming geeking out part, I just for our listeners that maybe aren't as familiar with the open water process, the journey to actually qualify for the Olympics is very different in open water than in pool swimming, right? So does it begin 2 years out, or is it 1 year out? Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Sure. So in 2012, the qualification was actually in 2011. And then in 2015, we qualified one female and 2 male. So that was the summer of 2015 for 2016. So, but of course, to make world championships for 2015, you had to qualify for that team in April. So it is kind of a 3-step process. And I think what it means is just, you've got to kind of have, I think that Haley was in 2 different places for both of the Olympics that she made. And for the first time around, she didn't need a ton of racing experience based on the race course in London. And then in 2016, I felt like she needed a lot of experience. So kind of taking where she was at that time and making sure that she's getting the things that she needs to be successful. They were different in those respective years, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So how are you, what's different about preparing for Tokyo, and has that conversation started, and what's that like?
Yeah, actually, so that will start, the trials will be in 2019, and there's nothing really substantial this summer. Pan Pacs for open water doesn't carry quite a significant impact. So she's getting a lot of racing experience in Europe this summer. So she was just at French Nationals and won that race, which was really important for her. And then she's going to race 2 more World Cups, and I'm actually headed over to meet her on Thursday. And so we'll be at Portugal and then in Hungary. So she'll have 2 more opportunities to race, and just kind of learn more about herself and where she is. Open water is funny. You're not racing the clock.
Right.
So whether the race is 2 hours or a minute and 45 based on currents, you just have to touch first. So, you can train the fastest in the pool, but a lot of times it just doesn't matter. And so that's unique to open water as well.
So she has to go to World Championships in 2019. Does she have to finish in a certain, like, what's that process?
Yep. So then you have to be top 10 in the world. So
it's not easy.
It's not easy, not at all. And it's really difficult. I mean, to think that you have to be top 10 in the world just to qualify for the Olympics. So, but there's a lot of things you can't control. You hope to be one of the best Americans. And I think as a whole, we're getting better and deeper. And so that's exciting. And as a nation, the better that we get domestically, then we'll be able to put better athletes in the international field. So it's exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. And let me ask, because I think a lot of people in the swimming world don't know a whole lot, about open water. So can you give us just a brief summary of how the U.S. is doing and what's coming up for open water competitions?
Yeah. So we just had our nationals this past May. And so we selected 6 American women and 6 American men to be on the national team. That group just went and raced in France, French nationals. And, I think that the hardest thing is kind of coming up with like a vision that we want to be able to be prepared to put these athletes on the podium in 2020. But I think we also have to remember that we want to have athletes for 2024 and just need to be developing plans for, 2028 as well. So I think the challenge for open water is it being a relatively new Olympic sport is trying to know what's in the future and then trying to make sure we're prepared for, the upcoming races. Tokyo is going to be saltwater and rather warm and maybe flatter than say, Rio and Copacabana was. So just, I think as a whole, we're trying to give a diverse group of athletes different experiences. So, so that when 2019 trials come around, we're the most prepared.
Yeah.
And then part of that is education and talking to club coaches. And it's been great before nationals. I think there were 2 club coaches that just called and said, hey, tell me about feeding. Tell me about this. And, I'm certainly happy to share.
You can write the book on that, Catherine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. But like I said, there's so many other coaches out there too that are just getting into it and love it. And I think their passion, it's great to see. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we just think you're amazing, but I want to go a little.
We should do this once a week. I'm just kidding.
I do want to go a little personal because you are newly engaged.
Yay,
so congratulations on that. And obviously,
thank you.
You have your beautiful daughter, Carson. And so here you are, you're leaving, for Portugal on Thursday. You're a college coach, you're an open water coach. I mean, and you're a mom and a fiance. And, you say there really is no balance, to swim coaching and things like that, which Lord knows I know. But at the same time, you have so much going on. Really, how do you balance it all?
Yeah, I think it's a great support. And it's family and it's friends and it's first and foremost, it's Dave for letting me be able to, sit down and say, these are the things that are important to me and I'm going to prioritize this right now. I need your support. And he's been amazing every single time. And I think as women, we're always afraid to ask. It's like I have the conversation. I've known Dave for 10 years, 12 years now. And, I get in my head. I asked him actually a week ago, I said, I just need to have a little bit lighter summer. Like I have a lot going on. I need to fulfill this open water piece. But I probably also want to take a honeymoon and spend time with my daughter and just make sure the foundations for, this new relationship are going to be solid. And, he just, what's he going to say, but it didn't go as I expected because we think worst case scenario in our heads. And I think women are afraid to ask for what they really want. But I did, and it's worked out really well so far. So I have to be grateful for him and my family. And my parents are awesome, and so I feel lucky.
Yeah.
My friends keep me humble, so that's good.
Well, that's amazing. And like I said, we just adore you. We think you're absolutely amazing. I love having such a strong, wise woman out there in the coaching world. But you probably don't know, but we always like to end our podcast with a little bit of a challenge and something that you just said that women don't ask. Because, I always say this, so it's funny that you said that, but we as women, we always go worst case scenario. When we go out into the future and think about it, we never are like, oh, it's going to go great. It's always total worst case scenario. So the challenge for today, everybody that's listening, is ask for what you want and need, because if you do not ask, you are not going to get it. So that is the challenge for the day. Stop going worst case scenario. Think about what you know now and what you want and what you need, and ask for it.
Amen. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Catherine.
Well, I did practice the talk in my head during yoga. I ran through 5 conversations. I kept falling over. I was like, oh, I just need to do this now.
Well, good
shower
for you.
Conversations with yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
We love it.
Thank you, ladies, so much. I really appreciate
Catherine, this was
it.
amazing.
Thank you.
And best of luck this summer with your upcoming wedding, with all of the races. And, we're definitely rooting for you.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of the week.
Thank you. You too.
Wisp Sports Radio is the world's largest network for women's sports, available on any podcast app with more than 30 shows and 800 episodes. For more conversations from the world of women's sports, visit us at wispsports.com and follow us on social media. Our guest today, Catherine Vogt, at CV Swim, at Wisp Sports Radio, at Carolyn Joyce, at Coach_Christen, and at Lead Sports Summit. We'll be back next week with another episode of Femme Power.
If only for the until the moonlight is stolen.